Welcome back to everyone here in Washington, D.C. We're going to continue with the second half of the press conference, and this is the huge, big part of the press conference for what is going to take place on Saturday, January 7th, on Showtime pay-per-view, right here in the nation's capital at the Capital One Arena. It's the main event. It's the gentleman here to my right, Gervonta "Tank" Davis, 27 fights, 25 knockouts. That is a knockout percentage of 92%. He's going to be here right down the road from where he grew up at the Capital One Arena. You can obviously check it out on Showtime pay-per-view. You can pick up tickets at Ticketmaster.com, CapitalOneArena.com. He will be opposing someone who is not a tune-up. He's going to be opposing someone who has been reputable here over the past year, surprising everyone in the sport of boxing to be in this position. Héctor Garcia, going to be moving up to take on the champ for the WBA Lightweight Championship. Saturday, January 7th on Showtime pay-per-view. I want to bring up the president of Showtime Boxing here, Steven Espinoza, to come through and make some words.
Thank you, JR. It's been an exciting year here in 2022 for Showtime Boxing. We saw Jermell Charlo become the first undisputed champion at 154. We saw Errol Spence collect another belt. We saw Gervonta in another highlight reel knockout in front of a record-setting crowd at Barclays Center. We've got another unified champion in Stephen Fulton. We saw breakout performances from Sebastian Fundora and Tim Zhu. And we'll end the year with a really intriguing matchup on December 17th. Two rising young stars, Michelle Rivera and Frank Martin, and that's on Showtime December 17th. But as strong a year as 22 was, I think 2023 will be bigger and better. And there's no bigger way, there's no better way to kick off 2023 than with Gervonta Davis, the hottest young star in the sport. Now, there's a lot of talent in the lightweight division. Many talented fighters, some of the most skilled fighters in the sport. But there's one fighter in the lightweight division that stands out above all others, and that's Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Simply put, Tank draws fans and does business like few other fighters in the sport. In his last few fights, he sold out arenas in Baltimore, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and New York City. And I'm sure we'll be adding Washington, D.C. to that list very, very shortly. There is no other fighter in the sport, no other fighter doing what Tank has done. There's no other fighter selling out arenas literally coast to coast across the U.S. The biggest boxing gate ever at Barclays Center. One of the top 4 gates of all time for events of any kind. There's no other fighter doing that. Over his last 6 fights, Tank has averaged over 15,000 fans per event. That puts him in a category with probably 2 other fighters. Errol Spence and Canelo, those are the only fighters who are doing that here in the U.S. Tank's knocked out 17 of his last 18 opponents. 3 of his last 5 fights have been one-punch knockout endings. A champion in 3 different weight classes, headlining his 5th pay-per-view. There's no one else in the division doing what Tank's doing. Simply put, he stands apart from every other fighter in his division, and he's among the top 2 or 3 in the sport. With apologies to Ricky Hatton, there's only one Tank Davis. This will be his 13th appearance on Showtime, and we're proud to have been part of his journey. Whether you're a hardcore boxing fan or you're new to the sport, Tank is the one fighter who I believe is must-see TV. Now, while Héctor Garcia hasn't been on Showtime 13 times, there are few fighters who have made such a big impact in such a short amount of time. As a last-minute replacement, Garcia was a 10-1 underdog against highly touted Chris Colbert. Some people had Colbert as a 40-1 favorite. But Garcia pulled off a huge upset, a dominating performance. He followed that up with another dominating performance, winning the world title. And with those 2 performances, few fighters in the sport have had as strong a year as Héctor Garcia. and he deservedly is in the conversation for 2022 Fighter of the Year. He's big, he's tough, he's got a strong amateur background, and he has demonstrated power, and above all, he's not intimidated by anyone, no matter what the odds may be. To be honest, with a big matchup for Tank being talked about for later this year, most fighters would have taken an easier fight. One who hasn't been on such a roll, pulling off big upsets. But that's not who Tank is. No tune-up fights for Tank. He's looking for the biggest fights, the biggest challenges. And because of that, we're kicking 2023 off with a bang. Now, one of the hallmarks of Showtime Boxing is the strength of our cards. Top to bottom, meaningful, competitive, high-quality fights. January 7th is no exception. A card stacked with good names, top names in meaningful fights. In the co-future, we have Jerron Boots Ennis, one of the most talented fighters in the sport. He'll be fighting a title eliminator as he pushes for a world title. At 29-0, 27 knockouts, he's also must-see TV. With Tank and Boots on the card, we have two of the top young fighters, most exciting young fighters in the sport. But there's more also on the card. Rising contender Rashidi Ellis, 24-0, 15 KOs, takes on probably his toughest fight to date in Roymond Villa at 25-1 with 24 knockouts. And Demetrius Andre, making his debut at 168 pounds, taking on DMV's own Damon Nicholson. It's a can't-miss card stacked with good names, top to bottom, meaningful matchups, high-quality fights from the start of the pay-per-view telecast all the way through the end. Tank, Boots, Rashidi Ellis, Demetrius Andre, all on one card. Holiday present to boxing fans. This is the late Christmas present. In my opinion, it's as strong as any pay-per-view card that I've seen in recent past. Of course, we'll be supporting the pay-per-view with an avalanche of wall-to-wall content, coverage on Showtime, on Showtime social media and YouTube, including the Emmy Award-winning All Access, which will take you inside the lives of these two fighters, Tank and Héctor, premiering December 30th. We're thrilled to be here in DC. I know DC is a great fight town. I know the entire DMV is going to be supporting this event. I know Philly will be supporting this event. The Dominican fans will certainly be supporting this event. It'll be a big, big night, the biggest since Mike Tyson fought here over 15 years ago, and you guys cannot miss it. We'll see you January 7th.
Thank you, Stephen. With that being said, we want to start things off by asking trainer Bob Santos, typically more so in the background, an opportunity to be trainer of the year, if you'd make some opening comments.
Well, first off, we want to thank Stephen Espinoza, Al Heyman, Louis DeCubas Jr., and Javante for this opportunity. We're really thrilled to go against, to me, pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world, and so we're excited about the opportunity.
Okay, awesome. Well, now I want to invite you, Héctor, to come on up to the podium. Felix Figueroa is here. You can swim on. Opening comments. Some opening thoughts.
Okay. Primero, quiero darle gracias a Dios por todo. Gracias a la compañía PBC, Showtime Boxing TV, a Gemo, de Coayuna, por las oportunidades. Siento extremadamente orgulloso por las oportunidades. Estar aquí me ha costado mucho llegar. Por eso, por la misma razón, le seguiré demostrando al mundo y a toda mi República Dominicana y al campeón Gervonta Davis el por qué estoy aquí. Gracias a mi equipo de trabajo por el gran trabajo que estamos haciendo, incansable para estar en óptimas condiciones el próximo 7 de enero de 2023.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank God for having given me this huge talent for boxing. I would also like to thank Showtime and everybody. I would like to say also that I'm very happy to be here. I have worked extremely hard to make it here. I am sure I am going to put up a good show for the world, for the boxing fans, for the Dominican Republic, and that's what I've been doing lately. I would also like to thank Gervonta and my team, because all my team has gotten me ready to be here and to be ready for the January the 7th fight.
Well, Calvin, nothing new here. Been here. Back in DC, right down the road. What makes this fight different? Why take this fight?
It's important to us. Trying to take the hardest fight that everybody say we don't take. And Héctor, he's coming to fight. He had 2 impressive wins already. He's a world champion. You know, to me, to do a lot of talking, taking easy fights. We never took a fight that we was not told we had to take. We take every fight that they give to us. This is the fight that we asked for. I always tell youngin, the road to success is through DC. When we was young, we had DC. You know what type of party we're gonna put down. Can't sleep on him. He's coming ready. His manager, coach, Santos, we already went on once. We got another task again. It's gonna be a great night that night. Everybody should pay for this fight, see this fight. It's on. Cause my little young guy, a lot on his mind. He gonna make y'all remember him. We don't do no talking. We gonna show y'all. So come the 7th, be ready. Cause y'all gonna get an event that night.
All right, thank you, Calvin. Champ, back home, I'm slide out the way and let you say some words here. Go ahead, rock and roll.
I just want to say appreciate everybody for coming out. Another event, man, that we gotta get to. You know what I mean? So I've been working hard. I definitely appreciate the everybody that, you know what I mean, came out today, and the undercard is stacked. I ain't gonna lie, it made me feel like I ain't even know there was so many boxers that was gonna be on the card. So it's a surprise to me, you know what I mean? So I feel like I'm back in the amateur, so I definitely want to call out Boots for sure, one of the young lions that's coming up. Yes, sir. Boo Boo, you know what I mean? Another lion. What's your name, bro? Rashid, for sure. You on the card too? Yeah. Facts. So it definitely a lit night. Definitely a lit night for boxing. We got Damon on that mayor. I ain't gonna lie, coming back to DC was like, you know what I mean, I had to, you know, make sure my guys and, you know what I mean, people that paved the way for me was on the card. So I had to, you know, put that word in for, you know what I mean, and Lamar Peterson. You know what I mean, they definitely on the card for sure. So definitely give them the opportunity to show up. So definitely appreciate y'all for, you know what I mean. Jaleel, you on the card? For sure. So the young Jaleel on the card. So coming back home to boogie, baby. You know what I mean? So I appreciate everybody for coming out. Once again, we're gonna go back into training camp. We're not sleeping on this guy. I know we got 2 fights lined up, but this the main one that we focus on, because, you know what I mean, there's been a lot of talks in the boxing world, and I ain't really trying to do no more talk. I'm ready to, you know what I mean, go through everybody, you know what I mean, that's in my way, so, or in that division, that 135 division, so, but, you know what I mean, this Garcia is the first person that we gotta focus on, so we gotta get through him first. So, again, I appreciate y'all for coming out. See y'all January the 7th.
Héctor, this question is for you. When you hear everything that people say about what the past year has looked like for you, this opportunity. Do you still feel that you're being overlooked in this situation?
No, eso no me preocupa para nada, porque yo soy peleador y soy el que subo ahí arriba y sé lo que tengo que hacer. Basta con yo prepararme al 200% para estar ready para el día de mi pelea.
No, I'm not worried at all by the things that people say. I know who I am, I know what to do, and I'm the one who does the fighting. I know that I have my preparation has been good enough, and I am ready to give 200%.
Okay. Calvin, knowing that you have 2 fights that are set up already, and you think about...
We got 1 fight, that's Hector. Don't want to talk about that, period. Don't even ask me a question. So people out there, please don't ask me a question. Hector is on my mind. He's been on my mind 2 months before we even knew we had him. You know what I'm saying? You're bringing him out to the table. Everybody's starting to really look at him now. They know he's the real deal. But like I said, the road to success is through DC. We are in DC. Hector's standing in front of us. So we know what we got to do. I feel sorry because we had so much pain, you know what I'm saying? And we need to release it before we go to that next level. And Hector is in the way. Simple as that.
Bob, your thoughts in regards to training for this fight coming up? What has been different, especially moving up in weight?
We haven't done anything different that we've done in the past. That said, you know, again, everybody really should tune into this fight. It's going to be an all-time classic. Again, like I said, Gervonta, pound for pound, to me is one of the best fighters in the world. At this point in time, he's the best 135-pounder in the world, in my opinion. I've been in this sport for a long, long time. I've been around a lot of champions. And this fight kind of reminds me, I worked with Joel Casamore, one of the greats that fought on Showtime many times. And Casamore versus Corrales was a classic, and I'm expecting that kind of a performance. And I think Gervonta is going to bring out the best in Hector, and I know Hector's going to bring out the best in Gervonta.
Chad, being back here at home, you laid out a lot of the folks that are going to be on the undercard. You started here in D.C. You got this big fight on the 7th of January here in D.C. What does it mean to you to be back home and not be opening things up, but to open opportunities up for other fighters?
I think this is important. You know what I mean? It's definitely important. You know what I mean, to be able to open up, you know, ways. Ways for other fighters that, you know what I mean, to showcase their skills. You know what I mean? I think that's very important to be able to come back, and that's what it's for, bro. You know what I mean? Once you, you know what I mean, have that, what I want to say, like, you make your stamp, your mark in the sport. It's about coming back and try to, you know what I mean, show other people, you know what I mean, it can happen. So showcase that skills at a high level. You know what I mean, I definitely, I always try to push to have like a lot of up-and-coming guys that's coming after me, or even on the same, just try to get them on the card just so they can showcase their skills. And you know what I mean, it's enough for us all to win. You know what I mean, I feel as though that's a major goal for us to, once we make it out, definitely come back and show other people that it can be done.